Happy Comic Book Day Eve, and thank you to Bad Mary for that too sweet playing. Welcome all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is U.S. Comics Cast Special Edition. One topic for however long it takes, still for the people. I'm John Rivera, the CEO and co-founder of U.S. Comics.
And that must make me your Long Island Lothario, nicely suntanned. I happen to also be another co-founder, a co-creator. I am also the co-host and COO, Charlie Rivera, baby.
Whoever introduced you to the thesaurus has a lot of explaining to do. Son of a bitch.
It's 100% you.
This kid has to have those extra large business cards because he keeps on tacking on more and more descriptive terms for his damn self. Charlie, welcome home, baby.
Thank you for having me home. And I got to be honest, if you must leave Hawaii, you better come home to the best weather that Long Island has to offer. And after 13 grueling travel hours, that's what I was met with. I'm glad to be home. Miss Hawaii, but we're back on the show.
They named you Miss Hawaii? Dude, congratulations. Good for you, man.
You know what?
Think we got a chance.
They're really trying to be more inclusive. So they were like, let's get us a Puerto Rican with a beard.
Let's get us the most Samoan-ass chick we can find. Hey, Charlie, why don't you come over here? And Charlie just walked over with his grass skirt, ukulele. Real nice.
You know, that's how I like to roll.
It was accurate. But look, the fact of the matter is, just because Charlie puts the feet up and slaps on the footy thongs and grass skirt doesn't mean that everything else needs to hit the pause button. And boy, oh boy, the pause button was not hit. We have had going-ons, everything from the American Gods finale, which was straight a season finale, which was straight fire. Friend awesome. Ashley ripped it up. We had freaking Berserkers gonna be getting new life. Kanunu is gonna have more and more work keeping him out of the house.
It's not even out yet. God bless him.
It's unbelievable. I mean, what the hell am I missing? It just went on and on and on.
My Constantine's girl, my girl, the Magic Lady herself is getting her writer has been
Zatanna with a Z,
Zatanna
baby.
Gets to whoop that ass.
It's been going on and on. I mean, obviously, we're having a very special extended edition of U.S. Comics Cast dedicated to that project, which shall not be mentioned. Which took years and years, tragedies put behind, and the people's voice was heard. But you know what? That's going to be a story for a different day.
I will say, though, to tease it, tomorrow, our regularly scheduled program, we're doing something. We're doing something big. So we had to move over.
Not really a tease when we tell people exactly what it is we're talking about, and then say exactly when it's coming.
I'm trying to lead into why it's now. Why we're here on a Tuesday is because there was too much stuff to talk about. So we needed this bonus. We needed a little bit of freemium.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess technically we'll give you partial credit on that one. But look, obviously, we're clearly Charlie let the cat out of the bag, son of a bitch. So clearly we're talking about the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
What are you talking about? How did I make that clear at all, you giveaway son of a gun?
You made it clear. But we're talking about it tomorrow. But the point is, plenty of people have plenty to say about it. So we want to make sure that we're talking about it in a forum where those voices can be heard, is what I'm saying. But there's so much to talk about with that 4-hour-long epic. Love it, like it, leave it. It's an epic. It just wouldn't leave much room on the Thanksgiving plate of conversation to talk about anything else. And there was so much going on. In particular, our topic for this bonus edition, freaking Falcon and the Winter Soldier has gotten off the ground, boy. Unbelievable.
At least someone thought you were going to say Fantastic Four. You hung on that F. I was like, is Fantastic Four announced?
Now, by someone, do you mean Charlie.
It was me. I was like, holy crap, Jon has insider information. But something that is a very, very public bit of knowledge is that George Lucas is a liar.
George Lucas is a liar because Han shot first, son.
That's
Put him
right.
up, clink, knock him back.
Oh, boy. If anyone wants that recipe, hit us up anywhere on our social media.
Word.
But like Jon said, we are talking Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Man, my Fridays are about to get busy because we're going to have Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we're also going to have every Friday the new Invincible series, the animated series that I'm so freaking excited about.
Sure. Yeah, Friday's accounted for. So significant others, loved ones, work, if you fall into that category, just kiss them goodbye now. That time is allotted. You're not gonna. There's gonna be a lot of faces on a lot of sides of milk cartons coming up in the next several weeks. Again, this is gonna be the summer of somebody nod nerds discontent. But again,
right.
we're here. We're talking specifically about Falcon, Winter Soldier. Charlie, I mean, we actually, considering that you were half a world away, we really didn't talk too much about it, other than like, oh shit, that's now.
I've been dying to talk.
So this is like a real first impression.
Yeah, I'll hop on the stick here. I gotta tell you, I did not know. I chose my words poorly. It happens. That's.
Say Fantastic Four. Throw them off.
Yeah, I would like to ride all those sticks. Damn it, I'm making it worse. But sorry, John Krasinski. Yeah, you're okay looking. I'm not actually hitting on you, I swear.
Come on,
even if you can stretch shit, and if you're cast.
Come on, dude.
When
you would let Jim do what he got to do.
As long as he looks to the camera after he does it.
Of course, he would.
Like, oh, look.
Jim would finish with poor Charlie and then just be like,
that sounds about right. Hands up. With all that being said, I tuned in, and one thing that was in the back of my mind was I knew that they switched the order. Originally, it was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier first, followed by WandaVision. So when they flipped it, the first thing I thought was like, is my brain going to be able to like recover from how interesting and unique the bulk of WandaVision was and fall back into what feels to me, at least through the trailers, felt to me like a real series coming out of the world of the cinematic universe. And I gotta tell you, I didn't have any problem with it. I hopped right back in my chair and grabbed my popcorn. That opening sequence,
the opening. If we had been forced. If we had been forced to pay an admission to go watch this thing, that opening sequence, it was very Top Gun-ish.
Yeah.
Dare I say Iron Eagle-ish. It was worth the price of admission by itself. It was one of those scenarios where you sit down, a restaurant that everybody's been talking, hyping up for you, and you're like, you know what? Give me dessert first. Don't even show me the menu. Just wheel out the dessert cart. Because I want dessert now. They gave us dessert first.
It was, and for me, it played perfectly. There was like 35 seconds of feeling, and you're like, oh, maybe it's going to be like WandaVision. Maybe this is going to be about the study of two men's bromance. And instead, they were like, also as well as... Yeah, that's very true. They were like, here, it was a movie budget, that scene, and it was fantastic. Yeah. Told us everything we needed to know. Immediately wound up on my top 10 Marvel scenes ever. I just thought it was incredible. It hit everything the right way. I don't mean this in any sort of diminishing way towards the star himself, whose name currently eludes me. The actor who plays Falcon. It was on the tip of my tongue and I lost it.
Falcon, just say Falcon.
Falcon had real like Will Smith when he was untouchable energy for me through most of this first episode.
Swagger to him, so to speak. Well, it's actually interesting.
He was suited up.
It's interesting that you say that because, well, first let me say this. Obviously, this is a spoiler-filled little mini episode. So if you haven't seen the show yet, you do not want to watch this now. Go watch it. If you don't have Disney Plus, sign up for it. It's well worth the money. and then come back and watch this. And while you're at it, give us a like, throw us a follow, share the thing like like it's free because it is. Do us that favor, share, like, and just appreciate, because we're doing this for you. Let's be honest, we're not doing this for us.
That's
so
true.
That being said, spoilers are coming hot and heavy. You know what? In his Falcon persona, I 100% agree with you. There was that Will Smith vibe, and it's interesting because what I was thinking really throughout the show, knowing that inevitably these two roads would converge, for the characters for Winter Soldier and obviously for Falcon, but I was getting generally like the anticipation of this is going to be Marvel Bad Boys.
Oh my God!
This is gonna be Bad Boys. Like if we had that moment where like the two of them just came up slow motion, I would have been all about it. And it would have been a cheered moment. But again, the swagger of Falcon fell off completely when he was in his civilian situation at the bank and getting dissed left and right. Dude, it's funny because we're talking about superheroes. Granted, we're talking about the lower echelon of superheroes in terms of like a power, like a given powers that they have and abilities. But even so, they're better than ours.
By a mile.
Who hasn't had that moment where you're like, I'm gonna do the right thing, what I feel is the moral thing. It's gonna kill me. I don't enjoy it. It doesn't make me happy, but this is the right thing to do. And then to have that some bitch come spinning around the corner, going a little bit too fast, coming off of the two wheels, like Baby Driver himself was behind the wheel, and like run you the fuck over because he did the right thing and they played him dirty, son.
It's to back up a little bit, just to go through some of the story beats before we go into the absolute clobbering he took by life. What I really loved about it was I felt, at least for Falcon, Anthony Mackie finally came back. What was awesome about his performance, it felt very much like 3 Falcons. I'm wearing my goggles and I have fucking wings. I'm awesome. Full Will Smith energy is what I'm going to call it. Then there was when he was with his military buddy, it was still a little turned on. He's not showing off because he was just talking to someone in their native language. Mm-hmm. But again, this kid clearly was excited to talk to him and ask him questions. And they clearly have that relationship already, that this is kind of like the odd third man a little bit. Again, who knows how it's going to play out in the series. And then there was finally him with his sister and in his own silent
real
moments,
life.
Because the very beginning scene, the very first scene before that amazing action sequence, it's just him in what looks like a shitty apartment or a shitty house rental. He has Cap's shield. Well, it was a mess at least, but he's like already kind of putting on that disguise of putting on that suit, having that kind of speech moment that was very, very distinctly not Iron Man energy, not Steve Rogers energy.
Sure, yeah. No, he's a distinct character.
And we've had a lot of time with him without getting like really, really, like, I hate to say one-on-one time because he shares the title with Winter Soldier. But for me, at least, it was very cool to see these layers of the mask that are so exciting and
what I really appreciated, especially as you said, we've seen plenty of him. We haven't really seen him kind of like as a standalone. So even when he had the interaction with Rhodey, it was one of the things where like, yo, like daddy's gone to the store to get cigarettes. You got to watch the house now. It really was one of those like when Cap handed the shield over, it was a literal passing of the torch, the passing of the shield. But I think that moment really had the feeling of like the figurative passing of the torch, because like this is the point where like the hero life is not enviable. And that's one of the things that hasn't been lost on me. Like we take, we give Marvel they're just a little shot, something to think about, because nobody's perfect. One of the things that you can never accuse Marvel of is glorifying the heroism, right? violence, on inappropriate comedy, that's a different story. Like they're definitely guilty there. But you can't say that they're not going to that they've never come across with a message of you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Don't expect a parade necessarily. Sometimes your shit gets fucked up. Sometimes you die. Sometimes your name gets dragged through the mud. Sometimes, which might be the worst thing about it, which I feel like was Falcon's experience. Sometimes people just don't fucking know, right? You damn near kill yourself to do the right thing, to put yourself out there for others, and there's no fanfare. It's a fucking secret.
Not everyone is I'm gonna say this a bunch probably with these episodes. Not everyone's Cap and Iron Man. Like both of them had very, very specific situations and lives.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before with the shrimp boat and trying to get a loan. It never occurred to me that like, yeah, these guys have like cell phone bills. And there was a little bit of a Twitter scuffle with people talking about well, I can't believe Iron Man didn't pay them. I didn't think Iron Man paid them. I didn't think the Avengers were like a job. It never dawned on me. And for them to layer it with now this kind of revision of the blip, because in Homecoming, when everyone came back, it was played for laughs. Both of these Marvel TV shows have been like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, the blip
People
was nothing
were
to laugh
gone.
about. Yeah.
The political shit has fallen apart. There's this amazing, like, again, it's so weird because you always in series like this or films like this, the temptation is to have like henchmen. You need like people getting their ass kicked by the heroes, and sometimes it's very fucking heavy-handed. This was the first group of villains that I was like, oh, like the Flag Smashers are dicks. Like that's not, I'm not saying they're not dicks, but like every good villain, they explain the motivation, and I was like, So wait, when a bunch of people were gone, like the world was united in mourning, and it was united in like, oh fuck, aliens exist. And then everyone came back, and immediately like treaties were torn up, and like Canada hates us.
Well, you know what? And again, this is funny because we're talking about comic book shit. We're talking about 4-color, scenarios, but it has echoes in reality because you look at like our society, and no one can deny, regardless of what side of the imaginary fence that you stand on, no one can deny that our country right now, to get real, our country is very divided right now, right? We live currently, unfortunately, in an era of division, okay? And if you rewind the clock and you go back to September 11th, right, one of the worst events in our country's history, in the world history, frankly, our country was unified, right? Yeah. We had flags flying from every freaking, in front of every door, and there was very much an us against them mentality. Again, right or wrong, that's how it was. So sometimes tragedy can have that unifying effect. So here you have a fantastical, imaginary story that comes straight from the comic books, but it does ring true. That's when entertainment is elevated to art, is when something really strikes accordingly. Like, damn, they're right. Also, as far as I'm concerned, it's those type of moments that make me sit up and say, all right, I guess I do need to pay attention to this, because the trailers, and we often will talk about like either the disservice that a trailer can do to a project, or like to the bullshittedness that it does to us, where you're like, oh, this looks great, I can't wait. Oh no, this is actually terrible, wasting my time and money. Okay, cool, thanks a lot, trailer asshole, you talented son of a bitch. So watching the trailers for this, as opposed to WandaVision again, it wrote it in the sky like it was Space Girl herself. Was like, this is going to be different. This is not going to be a mini Marvel movie, as opposed to Falcon Winter Soldier was like, get your popcorn, get your favorite spot on the couch, because this is going to be a mini Marvel movie. and it really did have that feel to it. Like if
Yeah.
you had been walking past the TV and you just watched that first opening Top Gun scene, you could have just like, oh shit, this is which movie is this from? Like which Iron Man 19? What is this from? It could have easily been lifted from really any of the
Yeah.
canon.
And what I thought, and again, for me, a lot of times, I always see, I wind up seeing everything. Like that's just the compulsion of being a nerd. Still, I
How
don't
can you
care
bitch
how many,
about it if you haven't seen it all?
and also it's like I don't care how many comic books movies there are yet. There's still not enough. I have a billion characters I want to see on the silver screen, or in this case, the expensive television screen. So for me, it hasn't lost that appeal of like if they did a Blade 5 and 7, like I would have been like, Wesley Snipes is gonna phone in another vampire classic, baby. Maybe this one will rule. And what's amazing for me with this first episode is now I'm suddenly WandaVision levels hyped for every episode to follow. And I wasn't going into it. I was gonna watch it because that's just what I do.
It's like your job.
I was probably going to enjoy it, but I would have enjoyed it the way I've enjoyed anything else that like missed a little bit the mark for me. The minute you have these characters be so deep and have these little moments, that's what connects me to them. That's what makes me root for them, and that's ultimately what elevates them to me as figures. The Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example. Didn't give a fuck about any of those characters. I left that film caring.
I was just checking to see how long it took you to come up with Guardians of the Galaxy. Every episode, this motherfucking there must be some kind of arrangement where Charlie gets like a nickel.
I'm in
something?
the third one.
Unbelievable.
I show up as a blue alien.
I can see that.
To switch characters, I know of the two, as much as I thought Falcon was amazing, Winter Soldier probably had the biggest increase in personal Charlie quality. The minute that they went into an even deeper version, and they've touched on it on all the movies, but this is a guy who's haunted.
No.
And a lot of times with fiction, it could be one of two ways. It could either be too lightly disregarded, which I hate because I'm like, well, how are they just fine now? Or it could be this like bitter, awful thing. I thought they did an amazing job with the scene with his shrink and with the reveal, again, spoiler heavy, the reveal that like, oh, how weird that Bucky has this like old man friend. When they revealed that like it's because he killed his son, and the way he's dealing with that guilt because he can't just get a bitch arrested and kill her henchman. This motherfucker has like, he puts on the smile and he's dying inside and he's faking it for this guy. How'd that work for you?
Also, well, it's the Bucky stuff resonates for me. I mean, we have a lot of family and friends who are in service, right? They're in the military, or they're formerly in the military. We've got a ton of family and friends who wear the badge. That for me resonated with as a human being of service. Again, it really falls in that same that same category of heroism and service to others. It's not free, right? It takes some shit out of you, and sometimes it stays with you. And that's exactly what we saw, and that's exactly how it resonated with me. Also, it does give a bit of a proverbial get out of jail free pass, or like, house arrest, or ankle monitor, whatever situation they have with him, to some of his bad behavior or questionable decision making. Because again, when you look at who's in the same situation as Bucky, nobody. And the one guy who got the redemption of being able to go back, take advantage of the technology, put on the white suit, and then go and live out the life that he was denied. So not even Cap is in the same boat as him, right? They just aren't. There's a great quote that I'm gonna attribute to the COVID unfortunate reality nightmare that we're living in, but I think it applies here. And the quote goes something. I'm going to paraphrase. The quote goes something like, "We're not all in the same boat. We're in the same storm." And
That's beautiful.
completely, I think, was appropriate to the Bucky Cap situation because they kind of came up together, and they very much were, they were like mirror images of their realities. And then the fork in the road happened, and Cap went, Cap got his happily ever after with his British Betty, and and Bucky was like just one arm hanging off, and again, he's a victim. He really is a victim. He's a victim that could kick the shit out of you 7 ways from Sunday, but he's still a victim.
Yeah, it's just again the search for family we've seen in Marvel before, full on mourning we just got with WandaVision. This is going to be a very, very interesting, potentially, it's going to be a wildly interesting journey to see ultimately what the series is about. It's easy to guess right now.
I love the combination of the characters. Because again, well, here you have a situation, and this is one of those things, little hubris. This is exactly the type of combination I would have tried to do. I'm like, salt and pepper, fuck that shit. Give me salt and paprika, son. Woo! Get the Goya adobo, son. Whip that out. I love the combination because look at their scenario. Obviously, this is not, as far as I know, not predicated on any established comic book canon. So they're doing it as they go, which I think is awesome and better for them, and certainly better for us, because we can't sit here being like, well, on page 18, it wasn't a fishing boat. It was shut up, us's. So
the multiverse of us sucks.
It's a win-win-win. But yeah, that being said, I love the combination because look at the scenario. So you have Sam, who was in essence handpicked by Cap in the modern era to be the new Bucky. And then you have the original Bucky who's like, yo, motherfucker, I stood up for you in the alleyway and beat some ass, lost my arm, and I got my long hair. Now I speak Russian for some reason. What the fuck? What about me? So can you imagine poor Bucky?
When's it gonna be Buck's time?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck! Bucky was the bomb in Phantoms, yo. So here's Bucky, all one-armed. Doesn't even have the handicap pass and for parking, nothing. He's got no benefits at all. Bucky was like looked over. Bucky is the spiritual successor to Cap. I mean, they wear the same damn size pants, he was looked over for the mantle for fucking Sam, for the Falcon.
Now
you gotta be buddies. You gotta hold hands. Like, that's some shit. That is some shit.
Not to double down on your point, but also well as fucking Bucky was Steve. Steve looked up to Bucky, not only literally because he was a short little piece of garbage, but also that if you were to have quizzed Captain America before all the super steroids, he would have been like, no, Bucky's the fucking man. He's good with the ladies.
He was the alpha. It was very much like the Charlie John scenario, except Charlie has not been selected for the secret soldier serum.
I just got wider just by Dunkin' Donuts. I actually don't even like donuts.
He's like, the best thing that happened to me is I won Miss Hawaii.
Hey man, don't hate on my accomplishments of winning Miss Hawaii.
Clearly you were slathering on the copper tone because it looks good on you, bro.
Thanks, man. I thought so too. The heels were a bit much. But what I love about it, they have that dynamic to play with. Yeah. They have the fact that they're both heroes that have never really had the spotlight. And if you add on it, I couldn't possibly wrap this up, although will sooner rather than later. Yeah. I couldn't not talk about how fucked poor Falcon got, because he clearly was doubting becoming the new Captain America. Like, who wouldn't?
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Sure.
Then you have this motherfucker, clearly this white devil, saying, oh, no, yeah, man, you should definitely give us that shield, though. Like, dude, I could imagine
the dirty that was played on the Falcon was so dirty.
Well, because it's one thing that, like, because people will say, our friends will say, they'll yell it from the rooftops, be like, well, he gave the mantle away. No. He said, let the mantle sit. Here's the shield, put in this dope ass museum. It'll be that much doper. But there's just Steve, his fucking speech was literally like, wow, man, larger than life, my best friend. I love this fucking guy. He's the only Captain America we'll ever have. Times are different now.
Right.
He didn't, again, one could argue like he didn't want it because he didn't want the pressure or whatever the fuck. Bottom line is he did not sign on the dotted line for like, pick a big-eared white guy to be the new Cap.
He didn't say it shouldn't be me.
He said
said it shouldn't be anybody. There's nobody's shoulders are broad enough to carry, to pull this off. And they're like, all right, cool. We're just gonna go ahead and put this in this case. And it's like they watched him leave the room, like, all right, guys, he's on. And broke the glass and handed it to Gomer Pyle. And, what a goofy. And God bless that actor. No shots across the bow on him because I don't want him knocking on my door because he's also like damn near 8 feet tall. But he came out like he looked like Gomer Pyle. I sincerely thought I was like, well, I can't wait to be this Captain America.
There's no version of that I don't think was intentional, and maybe this is 100%. Maybe he had
the big ears, looking like a taxi cab driving down the street with the doors open, and like the look on his face, like, and he's clearly gonna be a Captain America who's like a company man, so to speak, which is all well and good, except like, what's the company though, son? What's the company?
And also, I'm kind of hoping that at least his comic equivalent wasn't in the army, was in the Marines. So that's like another thing of like this Captain America, if it follows the trajectory that was laid out before it, like maybe he right out the gate is a little bit too much, a little bit less like rah America and more like fuck yeah America, baby.
Well,
it's energy.
It's interesting that you say that because in the comics, I mean, poor Steve has had more forks in the road than like the fucking the GPS tells you how to get from New York to California. There's been many occasions where he's had to take the A off and put the shield behind him, and so to speak. For me, just thinking about it more as like aesthetically. And I did have even this fleeting thought. I admit it. I fully admit it. During the scene, spoilers. During the scene, the opening scene when they're shooting on him, and he's in the plane. First, I'm like, stop! Don't shoot in the plane. What are you doing? What are you doing? But when he's able to use his wings as a shield, I threw my hands up like, what the fuck does he need a shield for then? Like aesthetically, my thought was, when he was getting the shield originally, how the fuck do you use a shield when you're flying around with giant wings? It didn't make sense. I have no problem with the handing over the mantle. I think mantles are one of the few places that Marvel is actually trailing DC in. That concept of like, all right, you're the next. Marvel doesn't really do it quite so much or quite as well as DC. But in this circumstance, I'm like, yeah, hand it over, but like, give it to somebody who's going to use it like the way that Sam's going to use the shield. If he inherits Captain America, like, that's great. That's great. I'd love to see the red, white, and blue get up. I mean, at first I thought I was like, I would really love to see him in a Battle of the Planets-esque hockey-looking helmet. But give me the red, white, and blue. He could come out looking like fucking Randy Macho Man Savage with all drape. Looking like Apollo coming to the ring, gonna fight against Drago. Drape him in the red, white, and blue. I'm all for it. But how the fuck is he gonna use a shield when he's flying around? But unbeknownst to me, apparently, I don't know everything. So I'm here for the ride, man. I was very juiced up from this first episode, and I'm Friday ready for the next one.
And just because you mentioned it, the last thing I'll say before we pay some bills. What you just said is the first time I realized, like, maybe this series ends with Falcon is the new Captain America and Bucky inherits the shield. Like, Not that the mantle's shared, but like Bucky absolutely could use a shield. Motherfucker ain't got no wings. Like
this is my shield. Look at his arm. This is the shield. Look at that.
Oh shit. Oh
Got
shit.
that Bucky shit, son.
Someone's gonna get private messages based on that pose alone. Ladies and
Go
gentlemen,
slide into my DMs, kid.
we got plenty to do Friday. We got this show coming to you direct tomorrow on
tomorrow.
Comic Book
Be
Day.
here tomorrow. Bring your opinions. Bring the fire. I want to tell you why you're wrong.
It's going to be so fun. But what you can do is you can prepare for all of that on our social media. It's all at US Comics HQ. We want you to comment. We want you in that chat. We want you live and in living color.
Be here.
We want to go toe to toe. Share it. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Make your mom watch it, even if she doesn't pay attention to it. But that's great for Wednesday. That's great for Friday, right? I gave you what to do on Friday.
Yeah, you got one day off.
You need some Thursday activities, son. So what I want you to do is I want you to listen to some tunes, baby. I want you to go over to Bad Mary Band anywhere on social media, and I want you to support one of my absolute favorite bands. They're dropping
both
monthly. They're dropping covers so far. 2 hits, baby. I can't wait for that third one. I can't wait for when they drop it. You can listen to them on all streaming music services. If it exists and plays music, you can find Bad Mary. You can support them on Patreon, patreon.com/Bad Mary. Just throw them digital currency. They know how to spend it. They'll buy some damn Bitcoin, son. And you can support them directly over on Patreon, where they have live streams, which is the absolute bees mother trucking knees. They're the greatest. So definitely give them a listen.
Also, our other sponsor, because we have run out of time, because Charlie will keep on talking until you listen. Right here on Facebook Gaming, it's Sergeant Finesse. 2 streams a day, outstanding gaming content, supporter games, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Check him out today. Throw him a like. Throw him a follow. Consider becoming a supporter there. If you need me up, follow the White Rabbit over to sneakenergy.com. Tastes so good. If you're looking for some fresh and new gear, go over to geeksunleashed.com. Use code SARGE at checkout there. When the Sarge is on deck, you salute Charlie. Take us home like we're coming back from Hawaii.
There's only one way we end each and every episode of US Comics Cast, and that's with the musical stylings of Bad Mary. Take us out.